Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the next upcoming character, Zhu Yuan, who is an Ether ATEC agent. I decided to take some time to calculate her damage and best options for your build so you can get the most of Zhu Yuan. You can play her trial through the main story and even look at her full kit. So let's go over her kit, some mechanics, best weapons and discs so you can get ready for her release. Keep in mind that some data comes from the closed beta, so always expect some small changes. First, let's go over her kit, because there are some mechanics besides the basic deal damage thing, mainly her basic attack. Her basic attack is split in two different modes. If you mash your attack button, you're going to do a combo of up to 5 basic attacks. The fourth and the fifth one will recover an enhanced shot shell if it hits an enemy. Pressing the attack button after the last hit seems to trigger some sort of dash attack, but this information actually isn't available in the skill information. If you hold the attack button, you're going into the suppressive mode, which is basically a ranged mode. You get up to 3 attacks, and the last one shoots 3 shells. If you have enhanced shot shells, you'll deal massive ether damage instead of physical damage. For a full combo of ether damage shots, you will need a total of 5 enhanced shot shells. This is going to be your main source of damage, so keeping track of your shells in order to maximize your damage is really important. While you can chain her default special attack up to 3 times, the damage is so low that it isn't worth your time. X special attacks, on the other hand, are a huge burst of damage that also recharges 3 enhanced shells. Dodge counters the quick assist also recharges a single shell, and while she can't parry and only goes for evasive assists, doing an evasive follow-up will recharge 3 shells. Chain attacks and her ultimate also recharge 3 shells. So if you plan to use your shells outside of your burst rotation, you need to track your shells and use different ways to recover it. For a car skill, you have a damage boost for all enhanced shells. This means that not only your shots have a higher damage multiplier and deals ether damage, it also gets another damage bonus. If the enemy is stunned, then this extra damage is doubled. Her additional ability gives 30% crit rate after using an X special attack, chain attack, or your ultimate. The best part is that instead of requiring another agent from the same attribute or faction, Zhu Yuan only requires either a support agent or another agent of the same faction. Leveling up her car skill also gives extra attack and crit damage as well. For my calculations and tests, I went with a full burst combo that starts with a chain attack, goes into your support chain attack in order to trigger quick assist, followed by a full suppressive combo, then ultimate and X special attack in order to burn your resources, deal damage and also generate more shells. Another full suppressive combo and finishing the rest of the stun timer doing a full basic attack combo. There's a trick in order to activate your suppressive combo without doing the very first basic attack. You need to hold your attack button while doing the previous animation. This means holding your attack button and pressing the quick assist trigger at the same time, and for the second combo you want to hold your attack button while doing your X special attack. If you don't hold your attack button before these animations, you need to first go through your basic attack 1 animation, increasing your total field time and therefore lowering your DPS. For the standard rotation, I only calculated using her basic attack combo with no shell consumption. But since there's a high chance that you'll be able to generate shells by doing dodges and other ways, you are free to consume shells against weaker enemies as long as you keep tracking and leave at least a single shell for your burst rotation. Same goes for your X special attack. If you find yourself with the maximum amount of energy, feel free to spend some energy and use some shells. Since you can get some extra damage by using shells against stunned enemies, it also means that Zhu Yuan will be mainly used with a stun agent in your team, leaving the last slot for a support agent in order to trigger her additional ability. This means that Zhu Yuan can fit perfectly in the Cunning Hair standard team, replacing Billy as a better DPS. Ambi goes for stun and Nicole activates both Zhu Yuan and Ambi additional ability. While Nicole can't provide attack buffs for your team, she provides ether damage and defense shred. I made a comparison of Zhu Yuan DPS increase with different supports, and somehow Nicole still shines even though Zhu Yuan already has a lot of damage increase on her kit. Of course, this doesn't take into account the damage contribution from saved characters, meaning that Lucy and Rina can probably outshine Nicole when it comes to total DPS. But removing Nicole means that you probably won't be able to use Chaotic Metal 4-piece effect, since Zhu Yuan will be the only ether character in your team and you need to apply corruption on the enemy to benefit from the 4-piece effect. If you're going for Lucy, you can use Koleda or Ben for stunners. Ben isn't a stunner and is definitely suboptimal when it comes to stunning enemies, but the extra crit rate that Ben provides can help Zhu Yuan to get a good crit ratio. For Rina, the best and only available option is MB, but you can probably try to go for a Grey Sting. Just remember that going for no stuns means Zhu Yuan will lose some DPS, as you won't be able to stun the enemy as fast as possible. Also do keep in mind that future characters will be released and can add more variation and possibilities for a Zhu Yuan team. For the Bangboos slot, it kind of depends on your personal preference and problems you are facing. As I said before, going for Chaotic Metal requires you to apply corruption on the enemy with around 60% uptime. Failing to apply corruption will remove your stacks and decrease your total damage. If you can't meet this requirement, especially if your Nicole is only at Mindscapes 0 or you're not using Nicole at all, then running an Ether Bangboo is going to be the best option, either Risonaboo or Devil Boo. But if you're not having problems or you're using another 4-piece set, then you can go for a million for some extra damage as long as you are running a Cunning Hair Sting. When choosing your weapons for Zhu Yuan, the best option is going to be her signature weapon, offering around 10% damage increase on her burst rotation when compared to her Sunlight Engine at 5 stars. The signature weapon effect also increases your I was finishing rendering my video and I just saw that Zenless Zone Zero official page decided to post more information about Zhu Yuan's signature weapon, and they actually made some changes. Base attack is still going to be the same thing, and the secondary stat is still going to be crit damage, but they changed a little bit of the effect. They removed the ether damage that you get here, and instead they placed a 50% crit rate. And this actually makes the weapon really insane because you're going to get both crit rate and crit damage in the same weapon. And for the second half of the effect, they actually nerfed a little bit of the damage, so we're going to have only 35% instead of 45%. This is actually super fine. So for the rest of the video, just keep in mind that Disc 5 is definitely going to be ether damage, even if you went for the signature weapon or you're not going for the signature weapon. And Chaotic Metal gets even more value, even if you're using only the 2-piece effect. Everything else in the guide is going to be the same thing. That's it. Being a limited weapon also means that it has increased base attack, so attack ratio bonus will get more value. Brimstone and Steel Cushion can also provide some decent damage for you. Steel Cushion, being a crit rate weapon, can help you achieve a good crit ratio in your build. The only requirement being you to position yourself when shooting in order to hit the back of the enemy. Brimstone damage can get higher than Steel Cushion, but the ramp up time can make it even worse than Starlight Engine at 5 stars. For free-to-play players or players that don't want to spend on her signature, instead plans to go for her Mindscapes or future characters, the best option is the general Starlight Engine at 5 stars. For your disc sets, Chaotic Metal is the go-to for Zhu Yuan. The 4-piece effect can give you a total of 53% crit damage. It's the most consistent one as long as you can trigger corruption on the enemy. If you're struggling and don't want to deal with anomaly build-ups on the enemy, or you're going for her signature weapon, then Woodpecker Electro will be your best choice for a 4-piece effect. For the last 2-piece effect, you're going for either Chaotic Metal, Hormone Punk, or Woodpecker Electro. It goes up to preference and substat rolls, since the damage increase is close to each other. For the highest possible damage in your burst rotation, the best option is actually Hormone Punk, but the DPS loss outside of your burst window and the fact that you can trigger Hormone Punk outside of your burst rotation means that your overall DPS can be lower than other set options. For your stats, you want to aim for either a crit damage or a crit rate in your disc number 4. It depends on your current ratio and stats that your set effects can give to you. As always, you should aim for a 1:2 crit ratio. Disc 5 goes for ether damage and 6 goes for attack. Even though she has a lot of damage bonus on her attacks, ultimate and skills can benefit from ether damage. For the substats, aim for crit rate, crit damage, attack ratio, and flat attack rolls. Penetration can be useful, but since you only get flat penetration rolls in your substats, flat attack can actually give you a better damage increase, especially if you're running some combat attack effects or you call with her defense thread. And finally, for her Mindscapes, which I actually highly recommend you to get over her signature weapon. Her first Mindscape makes her gameplay way better and easier, since you get access to a quick reload effect once you use your ultimate or a chain attack. Once you deplete your shells, you consume this quick reload effect and it will instantly refill your shells. The chain attack one refills 6 shells and the ultimate refills all your shells. This makes Zhu Yuan rotation so smooth and clean, and even lets you use more shells through your rotations. For her burst rotation, you'll now be able to fit a total of 4 full suppressive combos, even if you start without a single shell. Instead of using a single combo before your ultimate, you use 2 combos in order to consume your quick reload effect and get 6 shells. Then, after your ultimate and exit special attack, you simply hold your attack button and go for another 2 full suppressive combos, and you're still going to have at least 5 shells left. Since you don't need to worry about shells in your burst rotation anymore, I also assume that your standard rotation will use a full suppressive combo as well, since stunning smaller enemies is way easier and this will grant you a quick reload effect. Her second Mindscape gives a scaling damage bonus for her shots. Every time you deal damage using a shell, you get 10% damage boost that goes up to 50%, meaning that it takes 5 shots or a full suppressive combo to maximize this damage. This improves even further your damage, and since having Mindscape 2 means activating her Mindscape 1, you get a lot of room to spend shells freely. Mindscape 4 gives a 25% ignore resistance bonus for your shots. Since resistance ignore buffs are not widely available, this actually is quite strong and requires 0 change in your rotation in order to benefit from this damage increase. For our Mindscape 6 and last one, you get some damage boost to your X special attack. Once you use a total of 12 shells, your next X special attack will cost half of its original energy cost, and also launches an extra attack that deals ether damage equals to 880% of your total attack. Since most of your damage is still going to come from your suppressor shots, this Mindscape actually gives you way less damage than you would expect. However, lower cost in your X special attack means more shells, and more shells means more damage. Honestly speaking, for most of the players, I would only recommend going up to her Mindscape 1. This is both a huge quality of life upgrade and damage increase as well. I find it even better than going for the signature, but this choice is up to you, since the signature weapon also activates some extra visual effects on your character. The second best stop for you is to go up to Mindscape 4. Mindscape 6 provides little and conditional benefits, so only go for Mindscape 6 if you really want to finish her cinema art or you simply want it, because DPS-wise, you're not going to get a huge boost. Zhu Yuan is a strong and reliable damage dealer that can easily fit in a lot of team compositions due to her ability being less restrictive than other ones. She also finds herself in a good spot for free-to-play players, since her best team uses 2 default characters that comes for free. Let me know what you think about Zhu Yuan and if you are going to pull her in the comments down below. This is my first guide using some kind of calculator that I've made, and I'll be working further on it to provide better calculations and guides in the future. If you like the style for my guides, remember to give it a like and consider subscribing as well. As always, thanks for watching, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video.